So yesterday, somebody noticed something peculiar about my wardrobe. Trust me, nothing's ever by mistake on these rants. Well, there is something peculiar about my wardrobe today, and a couple things peculiar today. Oh yeah, this thing pretty darn hot, you know. I'm sitting here in the air conditioning recording this stuff, and I'm like starting to swelter. Oh, my hat's on backwards. Oh wow, look at that. You see how easy that is to fix? Fixing things that are wrong are so easy. They really are. First of all, it begins with fixing them. Okay? So, that's where I want to start off today is fixing stuff. Fixing stuff in the Texas prison system is as easy or hard as a hat turn. I can sit there and say, hey, this is the proper way to wear a hat. Obviously not. And kudos to the man who identified that, because people need to be observant of their surroundings. Okay? There's a reason for everything. There's a reason these guys wear certain tattoos, have a certain sleeve rolled up, okay? There's a reason why I had my hat backwards. Because it's easy to fix. You know, these problems are easy to fix. There's a reason I have this vest on today, and we're going to go into that today. And it starts off with, well, TDC, you're in the media again, of course. That's no surprise, you know. Well, I think TDC is probably going to go on a media blackout after this series of films here, but no reason to go on a media blackout, because I'm going to roast you more when you start some censorship in there, and that's get ready to get roasted, because it's not going to be an easy ride. The thing is, the only way you're going to stop the roastings is to start fixing some things, and it's a matter of just being truthful and honest. You know, that's the thing. You know, people ask me, well, what's that behind you on the wall? Well, it's something I addressed well over a decade plus ago. It's actually a framed article from the New York Times I wrote. And it's addressing an issue TDC just wants to ignore. Let's just keep our hat on backwards. Yeah. Good principle. We'll sit there and defend it and say it's a right way. No, it's the wrong way. It's the wrong way. And if you're going to sit there and deny that something's wrong, oh, no, it's not the wrong way. No, there is a wrong and right way. And I mean, it's as easy to see as, you know, kindergartner could see it. I could go in front of a kindergarten and argue, hey, is this right or wrong? Kindergartners are going to tell you this is right or wrong. Well, this issue has been addressed by CNN, Fox News, and they all concluded the same thing. You know, TDC needs to fix this issue, and TDC's fixing to get roasted by some bigger fish, and it's not me. No, nobody really watches this thing. Trust me. I mean, there's a few, but, you know, not like, you know, our mainstream media or movies and stuff like that. Well, I'm going through the headlines yesterday, and up in good old Austin, Texas. Yeah, I know, the People's Republic of Austin, as mentioned in Richard Linklater's movie Bernie. There's an old guy in there that kind of just goes in there and, you know, identifies sections of Texas. Yeah, the People's Republic of Austin. Yeah, there was an article about a Huntsville native, Richard Linklater. He's doing a series of short films on TDC, and they're not going to be good. Trust me. That old man describing Texas is probably going to be on that film describing y'all. I mean, it might even turn into a mainstream movie, but, you know, they interviewed that guy from that movie, Bernie, you know, the mortician, and was talking about a lawsuit he had to file. You know, old Bernie, he's an old dude now, 65, kind of like us, old dudes, you know. He's taking some blood thinners and stuff, and I know there are people out there going to say, yeah, you know, he killed that old lady, you know, he needs to fry. Well, I have something for y'all. Yeah, he killed that old lady. He needs to fry, and he needs to do his time. He needs to baking the heat. Yeah, okay. Well, let's kind of fix that stuff. I mean, come on, people. We're dealing with humans here, okay? Corrections is an art of dealing with humans and human behavior. And if you cannot recognize that, you need to get the hell out, okay? If you want these people in the agency who has that mentality, you need to get the hell out. I mean, you need to look at it as I used to tell people in turnout, when you want to start sitting there, F this, F all these inmates, well, back then they were called offenders, I'd tell them to look to the left and look to the right, because you probably just saw an inmate family member. I mean, I knew pretty much, they had to write IOCs, inter-office communications, memos, if they had a family member. So I usually knew that there was quite a few staff that had family locked up. So, y'all guys in the comment section who say, oh, screw these guys and all this, well, just be advised when you go to work today, the guy to the right and to the left of you probably is one of those guys who has a family member locked up. And, a little disclaimer for myself, I don't have nobody locked up in my family, but that I know of. I mean, maybe I do and we just don't talk about it. I don't know. But the thing is, this issue should have been addressed and resolved well over a decade ago, okay? There's no reason. TDC leadership, y'all have your hats on backwards, but y'all need to fix it. I mean, here's a little bit of what got aired out yesterday. And like I said, this is a guy that's doing these film series, very famous Hollywood director, writer, whatever you want to give his title. His films are very popular in Texas, and yeah, y'all gonna get roasted, okay? I mean, I don't know how much more New York Times, Wall Street Journal, all this stuff has been covered over the decades, but y'all looking pretty bad. You need to fix the issues. Now, there is an issue regarding this that I'd like to talk about, and I talked about this well over a decade. You see this thing, I'm burning up in here and I'm in the air conditioning. This is a big old Kevlar vest, similar to the thrust vest that TDCJ officers wear. Now, these guys are wearing it in that 130, 140 degree heat. These big old vests, they don't insulate pretty good, and I'm sitting here sweating in the air conditioning wearing that thing. It's so uncomfortable, I need to take it off. But we always see in the media about inmates. Inmates are suffering. Well, the officers are definitely suffering because they're having to wear this stuff. And some of y'all old timers back from the 80s and early 90s, y'all have no clue how hot those things get when you're having to go up 3, 4, flights of stairs, tiers, and up and down, carrying tray carts and stuff like that. And kudos to y'all guys who do it. I mean, the people making comments that, oh, let them burn up. Well, the true people who are suffering are the people wearing the uniform, okay? I want you to think about that, because they're having to wear these big old heavy vests. I mean, that's not a TDC thrust vest. That's one of my bulletproof Kevlar vests that I personally own. But the thing is, we got to fix this problem of this sweltering heat for the officers, okay? Now, if you truly believe that these guys that commit the crime need to swelter, we need to start off the right way if we're going to do the right way. And before I get a call from the president of the DPSOA, I'm really not pushing this, but I said, if we're going to do it, we need to do it the right way. Let's make these guys start sweating from the start, Let's take this air conditioning out of these DPS cruisers. I mean, why the heck should these guys that are getting arrested, doing all these heinous crimes in Texas, be allowed to ride around in an air-conditioned DPS cruiser. You know, we need to remove those air conditioners from those cop cars, okay? You know, we need to take that out to send a clear message to these guys that y'all aren't having nothing, you know? Well, let's start there. You know, let's start with the DPSOA. Yeah, don't call me DPSOA. You know, y'all support the troopers, stuff like that. You know, don't give me a call about this. I'm really not that serious. But I'm just using this as an example. If we're going to be going hard, we need to go hardcore, you know? But it's kind of ridiculous. Here we are a decade later, and this issue is still being brought up. You know, like I said, one of them Hollywood types is addressing it, and this guy's pretty articulate, so I'm kind of thinking, well, you know, this might be interesting. I mean, it might become a movie, you know, Bernie Part 2, you know. Bernie takes on the Texas prison system. I don't know, you know, it's... You know, I might pay to see it. You know, I don't know about y'all guys, but I just kind of want to see what happens next. What's the next episode, you know? And yeah, it's time to fix stuff. I mean, it's just as easy, like I said. You know, we can sit there, wear our hats like this, or we can fix them and turn them the right way. And that's all it takes, TDC. You know, but here's some clips from that Austin TV station, San Antonio. It was somewhere down there, okay? I just pulled these clips up and I saw it. I thought this is pretty interesting because we're still addressing it well over a decade plus. And, you know, I addressed it for the officers years ago when they started wearing these thick things. And I'm like, can we at least get a cool down area? Can we take a standalone air conditioner, maybe put it there, and want those rinse out cells, you know, where they store mops and stuff, and maybe blow the exhaust out into the pipe chases. And, you know, back then it probably would have been an easy fix, you know, $200-300 every cell block, and, you know, let that officer cool down. But, you know, the directors, they didn't care. You know, they told me, well, you know, let them file workers' comp, you know, let them file workers' comp. You know, this would have been an easy fix, okay? Because, trust me, when I brought up the issue, I wasn't looking out necessarily for the inmates. You know, it's these guys wearing these thrust vests, because I know these things are hot. They are a hot box, and, you know, they can be deadly, you know, if you pass out. I mean, thank God, to my knowledge, I'm not aware of an officer who's died yet, but I've seen some go to the hospital. I've seen people go out in ambulances, and, you know, just the attitude of the upper administration, well, let them file workers' comp. Screw y'all guys, for real, okay? Screw y'all guys, because if that would have been my loved one, yeah, we would have been having a talk somewhere. And there's a reason some of y'all guys don't shop over there at the local Walmart, you know? And I know why y'all don't shop at that local Walmart over there or go out, you know? Because it's stupidity like that, you know? And there's people that don't like y'all, okay? So it's kind of like this. We can either do the right thing, or we can wear our hats backwards, okay? What do we want to do? Do we want to fix stuff, or do we want to do it the right way? Because it's as easy as that. It's as easy as a turn of a hat. Flip around, fix it. That's all we got to do. Go to the legislature, ask for the right resources. That's all you got to do. But here's a little bit from, like I said, that Austin TV station about that series of movies, the short documentaries that are being filmed.
A well-known film director and a Texas prison inmate whose story was brought to the big screen in the movie Bernie have launched a fight for him to be in an air-conditioned facility.
Texas-based film director and producer Richard Linklater, whose famous works include Dazed and Confused and Boyhood, took a series of videos of 65-year-old Bernie Tiede inside the Estelle unit in Huntsville on August 4th. He's describing the broiling conditions inside.
No escape. There's no, you can't get away from it unless you just put something wet
A dozen years earlier, Linklater made Tiede's story of killing an elderly East Texas woman and storing her body in a freezer the plot of the acclaimed dark comedy movie Bernie.
She needs someone.
Linklater, working with Tiede's new legal team, went to see him in prison after learning about his declining health.
He wasn't really the Bernie I knew who's so positive. You know, he's teaching, he's doing all these great things for others. He was happy to see me. He smiled occasionally, but he was just, and I noticed everyone around in the prison, there was just this pall over everything.
A couple of weeks later, Tiede's legal team filed this lawsuit against the state and federal court in Austin, asking that he be urgently moved from his unair-conditioned housing to an air-conditioned facility. They argued that because of his overall health, including hypertension and diabetes, that, quote, if Mr. Tiede's deadly incarceration conditions continue unabated, Mr. Tiede is likely to die this summer in 2023. This year's brutal summer, the second worst in state history behind 2011, put a new emphasis on the lack of universal air conditioning in most of the state's prisons. Texas is one of 13 states that has no way of cooling its facilities. During this year's legislative session that ended in May, the House advanced a bipartisan $540 million effort to cover the initial cost of a plan to eventually provide so-called cool beds in all of the state's prisons. But the Senate did not address the funding, and it was left out of the state's $321 billion biennium budget.